Who will win? Who comes out on top? Who knows? Well, I do, because I've already tasted them, so I've already got my favourite. Hello, and welcome to another Whisky Trials. Tonight it is the Battle of the 12's. There's only two 12's. There's various other 12's that I have tried. But as per my usual way of buying whiskey, I look for the deals. This was 25 quid, I believe, on Amazon on a deal. Strathisla 12. And wouldn't you know it, Glen Moray. I'm constantly drinking it. And if you watched the previous Whisky Trials, I just reviewed the cider cask Glen Moray. And now you'll notice I'm saying Glen Moray right, instead of saying Glen Moray. Much to my sister's joy, I'm sure. So, I mentioned in one of the previous videos I did that I'd never seen an age statement Glen Moray. And, well, there you go. It's here. I have it. It's aged 12 years, American cask. Right? So, all good in the hood. Right, let me just sort this out. Apologies for glasses. I've got a bunch of random glasses going on. Should have picked them better. Say, okay, Glen Moray can go in the wee Lafroy glass. Yeah. And I'll just chuck it. I'll chuck it to the side. I'll disregard it. It's not that it's a crap whiskey. I'm just disregarding the boxes. And Strathisla, there's a nice look at the box there. It's nothing special, the Strathisla box. There's a bunch of weird kind of writing that goes right round the whole thing. Looks like the history of it, but there's no tasting notes, nose notes, palate notes, none of that stuff. Chuck that to the side. It has got quite a nice bottle. It's one of these bottles that, you know, women like to stick candles in and put them in your bathroom and burn down your house with. So beware of that, and also beware of the pour. One of the things that I like, if I don't drop the cork everywhere, one of the things I like about the Glen Moray, especially when you first open it, is the good impression there of how it pours. And it continues to pour nicely as you go through the bottle. The Strathisla, oh, it's a difficult pour. It's you're worried you're going to spill it. It's a difficult one. You kind of got to do the whole wine thing. And if you've never been a waiter and you've never done the whole wine thing, Google it. It's the twist and the flick. Twist and flick, twist and flick. So, Battle of the 12's. So it's Glen Moray versus Strathisla 12. Who will win? Who comes out on top? Who knows? Well, I do, because I've already tasted them, so I've already got my favourite. I think, although, you know, these things change. You never know. So this is the Glen Moray. And what I immediately notice about this Glen Moray over the Elgin Classic is it's got a much more flat, woody taste. So there's much more wood and much less of a sweetness. It's a weird one. I mean, I've had a few whiskies tonight. I've filled a few Whisky Trials tonight. So maybe I'm not getting the full whack of this. It kind of feels... Do you know what it kind of feels like? It kind of feels like I want to eat some salty nuts with it. Just to kind of... And I've done this... I explained in a previous Whisky Trials where... I was drinking a Glen Moray Elgin Classic in the bath, and I was sweating, and I was getting the salty taste on my lips, and it really kind of started to bring out more flavours, and I really enjoyed it. And I kind of feel that now, that I just want to scoff a few salty peanuts or crisps or something. But it's nice. It is a nice tipple. I'd say that the Strathisla's got more on the nose. There's varying kind of levels of sweetness that I'm getting on the nose. It's almost like a slight American cream soda smell that I'm getting. But the thing about Strathisla is no tasting notes. There's none on the, well, there might be some on the box, but it's that scripted kind of lettering, and it goes right the way around the box. I'll show you it again. Look at it. Yeah. You know, by the time I pour myself a whiskey, man, I can't be bothered reading stuff like that. Yeah, I'm scanning for taste notes and I don't see anything. No, bunch of stuff about craftsmanship and love and pride, blah blah blah. All very good, Strathisla, but you know, some people like to just know what it tastes like or what they think it might taste like. You got a load of the small writing along the neck of it as well. Yeah, okay. I kind of like it. I think only true fans will kind of read it, and that's maybe what you're looking for. But it's not just true fans that buy your whiskey. It's definitely more complex on the nose than the Glen Moray. And when I first tasted it, I was like, ooh, that's different. That's really nice. And I stick by that. I think if you were going to push me and I had to choose one of these two, it would be the Strathisla. But, you know, if you were going to push me further, it's back. The Glendronach 12. Who knew? Oh lordy lordy. I think everybody did. I mean, if you were gonna choose between one of these, or if you were to give me the choice, or you handed me all three of these whiskies and said you can only keep one, this is it. This Glendronach 12 is the one I would keep. But I've enjoyed both of these, and I don't think, you know, there isn't necessarily like, oh my god, this is the Strathisla proper stands out against the Glen Moray. I think it was merely down to the sort of first impressions, and the first impressions for me was that the Strathisla edged it, despite it being in a funky bottle that was slightly more difficult to pour and not spill anything out of. So yeah, I think the Strathisla is good. I think the Glen Moray is good. Oh, here we go. Bottled. This is one. This is one I was trying to remember. Bottled in Scotland by the Shavaz Brothers Limited. I think that's how you say it. Shavaz. Still not entirely sure. And the also bottle, I just recently reviewed this. Altervain. The Gaelic pronunciation, Altervain. Alt-Abain, it's kind of spelt. And it is rubbish. absolute rubbish. And it comes from the same people that do Strathisla. And obviously Chivas Regal. Chivas Regal, as you might call it, know it, say it, whatever. So it's good. I think that's good in a way, because I'm not a massive fan of Chivas Regal. I had it last Christmas, and it was okay, but it's one of these ones that's kind of expensive, and I don't think it's worth it. Much like this one, which is definitely not worth it. Absolutely. See my previous whiskey trials. Not worth it whatsoever. Sorry, Chivas. It's so bad. Really not good at all. But your Strathisla, somebody's doing something right there. Because this is my pick of these 12's battling against each other. Kind of. Although it was trumped by the Glendronach. But that's just for me. First impressions of these two was the Strathisla. Had it down. And it was an interesting one. It was you get certain whiskies. I feel that when you open them, you kind of go through this little journey. And obviously, first impressions count. It's like when you meet a person. You know, first impressions count, and then the initial conversation counts. And of course, you have follow-up conversations. You're like, yeah, that was okay. But then, you know, some people can sour. They can become, you know, you can become bitter towards them. So perhaps, you know, you're not enjoying it so much towards the end of the bottle. But both of these I've enjoyed. I am and still enjoying right the way through. I think this Strathisla just kind of tops it a little bit for me with just that. When I bought them, you know, it's when you buy a new whiskey and you've never had it before. There's this kind of expectation, and you know, it's the whole unboxing and just the first taste and then the second taste. I think that's very important. Like, I never want to have just one nip out of a bottle, because the second nip brings so much more stuff, because as soon as like you uncork this thing, it becomes somewhat oxidized a little bit. I don't really know the science behind it, but when I have the first one, I'm kind of like, all right, okay, that's nice, or it's this, or it's that. And then I have the second one or the third one, and I'm like, oh, that's changed. I'm getting something else, and you know, we go on this little journey. And I think I got much more of that with the Strathisla. But you know, absolutely, buy the Glen Moray. It's a very nice 12-year-old as well. I've got almost very little negative things to say about Glen Moray, and I only said Moray there because it rhymed with say. I know it is meant to be Glen Moray, but what can I say? I'm a sucker for a rhyme. Yeah, so that's the Strathisla. It is nice. It has a certain level of complexity. It's not mega complex. It has a kind of flat woodiness that I don't know, I'm kind of weird about. You know, it's almost like I want to change my mind. Do I want to change my mind? I don't know. No. It's a very different kind of woodiness to the Strathisla. I think the Strathisla pips it in a few different ways. But I think I do kind of need a palate cleanser, and as I mentioned in a previous whiskey trials, a huge thank you again to Gary's whiskey reviews. He mentioned that he likes to eat Turkish Delight with his whiskey, so I bought some. Being that it's that Christmas time, it's kind of easy to get, and I've already tried it with a few with some different whiskies. The mint one and the rose one was pretty good with the Talisker Sky. I think there's a different one. There's a mix one. I think this might be the mix. Yeah, this is the mix one. Apologies for all the chewing noises and stuff, but I kind of feel like I want a bit of a palate cleanser or something different in my mouth other than whiskey. I should have brought up some water just to kind of wash it out. Alright, so it's got pistachios in it. Wow, that's really good. So this is one of my things, is I want to know what goes with different whiskies, because as I've said before, people have wine with their meals, or they might have beer. You know, if you have a curry, you might have a lager or something. Perhaps even you have a cider with something. I don't know. Or when you have a dessert, you have dessert wines, you have liqueurs, all the rest of it. You can't have whiskey liqueurs. But why not just have whiskies? So is there a whiskey out there, or is there a type or style of whiskey that goes with seafood, which goes with cheese and biscuits, which goes with steaks? Much like they say about wines. So I'm very interested in what goes with what. And gotta say, man, I love Turkish Delight. It's really good. Just, you get the proper kind of stuff. I'm presuming this is the proper stuff. I have actually had stuff from Turkey. I've never been to Turkey, but I've had the proper Turkish Delight, and it was just the rose stuff. It tastes just like this. But this stuff's got 3 or 4 different flavours. And the pistachio stuff's amazing! I just had one of the pistachio things. And on the box, it kind of looks like it's pistachios with cola. I'm not sure what it is, if it's the pistachios with cola or if it's more of the rose thing, but it's oh man, it's really nice. It kind of looks like there's an orange one on the box with or some kind of nut in it. Alright, I've got another nut one to go, because pistachios are like the green nuts. That's how they're normally viewed. But then we've got this orangey kind of one that's got other nuts in it. But that's kind of cleared my palate a little bit. I've got pistachio nutty kind of flavour. So let's try the Glen Moray again. Yeah, I'm getting, I sometimes find it when I'm mixing my whiskies and I mix between the two, the flavours kind of get a little bit mixed up. And that's much more back to Glen Moray again. When I was trying the Strathisla and I moved back to Glen Moray, I was like, well, I don't really know what that tastes like. But right now, when I've just had something else on my palate, Glen Moray, back to tasting like Glen Moray. It's very nice. It's so close. Do you know what? I almost want to call a tie. The only reason I'm putting Glen Islet on top was first impressions. It was the first one that I tasted. I ordered them both at the same time. They arrived at the same time. At that point, I just thought the Glen Islet just pipped it for me for first impressions. Not necessarily the complexity, but just something for me made me warm to the Glen Islet. But I mean, I'd have no qualms of keeping the Glen Moray in my collection. I'm buying this again. I would definitely buy them both again. Well, I guess that's it. I can't really say much more about these two whiskies. Join me on another Whisky Trials. We will do other 12-year-olds. We will do other battles between the whiskies. I am planning on doing a top 5, but I'm going to do a top 5 of the supermarkets. So the top 5 that you're going to get all over the place. So the ones that we've pretty much been going over thus far is the supermarket ones. Not these guys, but some of the ones in the previous episodes. A lot of the ones in the previous episodes are supermarket pies. And then I'm going to do a top 5 on maybe some more, not exclusive ones, but slightly more expensive ones that you might find in the specialty shops. You're not going to find them in Tesco's, Co-op, all the rest of it. But yeah, slash.